Oliver, my man, welcome to the Hack Your Life podcast.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, Isaiah. Happy
Yeah,
to be
bro.
here.
Yeah. Um, First off, just big congrats on the deal with Mark Cuban on Shark Tank. You said that aired just Friday, and so if you got Hulu or if you got any plug or platform you can watch that on, I'd encourage you guys to check that out. But yeah, my wife Beck and I watched it the other night, and we were impressed, bro. We were impressed with you and your business partner. So tell the people how old you are.
So I'm 23 years old. My partner is 24.
Let's go.
So we're
That's exciting,
young
bro.
guns.
Just getting after it. I like to see it. And the first thing I wanted to talk about, it's kind of a weird thing to start with, but it was something that I picked up on the show and wanted to talk about it immediately. But it was your guys' internet marketing. So I'll kind of talk about the structure of how you guys got to where you are now. But I'm really curious to know about this. So you guys said you did 85,000 in internet marketing last month. Is that correct?
So that was actually back in September when we were filming. So it's
Okay.
probably over six figures at this point.
Wow. Okay. That's incredible. And so obviously it's clearly evident that it's working for you guys. I know Shark Tank is great exposure as well. Because I think you said that you guys were at 90,000 followers and I looked you guys up. It's like 150 now. And
Yeah.
so can you talk about maybe just, the exposure from Shark Tank, but not only the exposure from Shark Tank, but how critical it's been for you guys to capitalize on your internet marketing.
Yeah. So, we were fortunate enough to be one of the companies that goes on Shark Tank that's already doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So just to give a little bit of backstory, Salam and I started this our senior year in our college apartment, Miami University. Ended up sacrificing our time by skipping a few classes, not studying probably as hard as we should have our senior year, but we're proud to say that it wasn't to party. It was to work on this mission. So super started off as a side hustle. It was Salam and my second time in business together. Before that, we were drop shipping women's bathing suits, funny enough. But it really taught us a ton about creating a brand on social media and the importance of customer service. And it was actually a great stepping stone to Mad Rabbit, which is kind of like a polar opposite type brand feel. But the cool thing about tattoo culture, which makes it super exciting to market to for me, is it's made up of a bunch of different subcultures. So people have their tattoos because they're in a skateboard community, or they're big fans of MMA and their favorite fighter is tattooed, or a mom who has her kid's birth dates tattooed on her arm. There's so many different reasons why someone has a tattoo, and they all kind of subscribe to that broader tattoo culture. But we found that once we kind of get in depth with those niches and create some really awesome content for that audience specifically, it really resonates on multiple levels.
Yeah. So did you guys then start heavy on the marketing from the jump, or what did that look like?
Yeah, so from the start we were all paid advertising, so Facebook ads, Instagram ads. That's how we started getting our initial first orders. Actually, for a while, our Instagram page was only black and white photos, which is kind of funny to think about for tattoos. At the time, we thought it was like just a unique way to kind of, I don't know, get our brand out there with our primary color being black. But building that social profile and that social proof on our Instagram was something that kind of just evolved over time. We partnered with a great creative director out of Los Angeles who gets a ton of lifestyle content for us. And the brand really kind of just became a culmination of the opinions of the community. So we kind of let the winning posts drive the stylistic direction moving forward. And what we look back and see now is just a really cool, edgy, but not offensive brand on social media.
Yeah. Practically, what did that look like? Because I know for me, I'm always trying to, be conscious of the money I have in my business account and how much is going to that. But can we just be really practical? What did that look like, from the jump? Were you guys putting $5 in ads on IG, or like $30 a month? What did that look like?
So Salam and I started with, I think, $600 total, $300 each. And that's all it took for us to create our first batch and see if we could sell it online. I would say that ad spend was initially like $500. And we were profitable from the first order. So then we then used that to kind of snowball inventory size and ad spend similarly. So I would say within Depends on the category, of course, but within $1,000 of ad spend, you can tell if something's performing or not. Would not spend any more than that on
Yeah.
one product that's not selling, or at least that marketing angle that you're taking.
Yeah. No, that's great advice for sure. And then the aesthetic as well. It looks like, not only with the pictures you guys use and the tattoo tours, but just the simplicity of the product itself. I mean, was the design something you guys thought a lot about as well going into it? I mean, I know with drop shipping, I don't know what that looked like before, or how much experience you had with the product and the aesthetic of the product, but was that something you were mindful of starting off?
So yes, the brand kind of logo and the brand feel was, I guess, how we started it. We wanted to pick something. I think in 2020, 2021, there's a big pressure to kind of go with the sleek and sexy techie names. So for example, we could have started with the name, I don't know, Inkify or something like that, which is cool and probably, easier to type into a bar than Mad Rabbit Tattoo, but it doesn't have that same stick. So we wanted something a little bit more longer form keyword, and I just love the ambiguity of the jackalope. So if you're not familiar with that, it's basically a horned rabbit in American folklore that wreaks havoc across Western villages. And I don't know, I thought it's cool and ambiguous, and a lot of people, while they might not know exactly what that is, the logo stands for something bigger, kind of how tattoos stand for something bigger for the people that have them.
Yeah, I love that. And then again, just I know we're being really practical here, Oliver, because we have a lot of startups listening in. But what did it look like, with getting the product? What was that like in finding, what distributor you're going to use, and even what boxes you're going to use to ship
Yeah.
them out of? What was that like for you guys?
Let me look really quick. I think I have an old tin. I do. So we started off with, like I said, ingredients and products ordered off of Amazon and labels made from Vistaprint. So this is like kind of the original tin, simple, not well designed. And that was something we iterated on with our customers over and over. We got complaints that the stickers weren't centered, so we knew we had to be done with stickers, right? So that's been in kind of an evolving journey, I would say, as far as the aesthetics of the product. But that being said, when we were starting out, we were ordering from Amazon. We were graduating from school. We both accepted full-time jobs. We were like, we have to get this out of our kitchen. So what we did was we Googled a private label cosmetics database. So thousands and thousands of line entries of private label labs that can help make your cosmetic dreams come true, right? You come to them with an idea or a formula, and they essentially produce it for you. So after a couple of weeks of calling a lot of these labs, we ended up finding our perfect fit. Shout out to Marco, and he's been everything for us. So he helped bring us from this original ugly product to this really beautiful one. He helped manage the packaging negotiations. All that stuff is produced in China, but the product itself is filled in Los Angeles.
Nice. Okay. And then what did the cost look like? I mean, from the jump too, because I know for me in starting Kinds, I felt terrible about myself for how much I was spending in just, the bag, and then going to the label, and then going to the boxes and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
What did that look like?
So the original balm, before everything was optimized, Salam and I were paying like, I don't know, $4.20, I think, for a completed tin. Now that we're operating at the scale we're operating at, and we've improved packaging, we've added an outer box with a lot of graphics. I think we're down to like 260, 270.
It's incredible.
So the product has gotten much, much better, and it's gotten cheaper too.
Yeah, that's always the move. Shifting gears a little bit, Oliver, but in starting this, did you have any pushback or negative comments? Because I know a lot of times with startups, maybe we can experience, a family member, you know what I mean? Or even something we internalize. Maybe it's just somebody that we know is talking about us that we don't even really know, but it bothers us. I mean, did you have any of that leading up to starting Mad Rabbit, or was this success of drop shipping kind of give you the confidence to move forward with it?
That's a great question. I think, well, first I will state that my father's an entrepreneur. So familial wise, I mean, it's always been encouraged from the get-go, which I've been so lucky to grow up under. But I will say, to your point, there's definitely that inner voice, that inner doubt, where I was like, I'm not going to go tell people that I do this at a party, right? It's not cool. It's not sexy. Now that I'm on Shark Tank, it's, there's a little bit more, um, I don't know, celebration behind it. But until, unfortunately, to your point, like it took that validating moment, I think, for me to really make the switch and be proud of what we built.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's always the move. I mean, if that you should do it, and you're calculated, you know what I mean, and you talked to, obviously, if you had a wife and that kind of thing, I think, yeah, we have to be confident in taking those steps. And then, as we grow in them, then we'll see the fruit. But obviously the first part can always be a little scary. And so, kind of staying in the same vein with people that are starting from square one. You talked about that you guys both contributed $300 each. So you didn't have that angel investor, you didn't have any capital going into this. Can you maybe just talk about how you guys kind of grew that into what it was then? Just practical things, you know what I mean, or maybe lessons that you learned in starting small.
So yeah, so one part that I did miss on, after this, Facebook orders started coming in, after the point where our neighbors were helping us package these up and send them out, and the volume started to grow. We knew we needed a loan if we were going to take it to a manufacturer. Again, we had that $300, which would now turn into like $500 each. Fine, but we need to be in the $7,000 to $10,000 range if we want to place our first order. So we went out to a few different banks, ended up securing a $7,000 loan, and like I said, that profitability and those margins were super fortunate for us. So they kind of helped snowball. But to your point, if we had not applied for that $7,000 loan, we couldn't have bootstrapped it.
Yeah, no doubt. And then the importance of creating something, obviously, that is niche and something that a lot of people are into, being tattoos. I know, especially with this generation, it just seems like there's a lot of people that have tattoos, a lot more than, the former generations and generations before that. And so this is obviously a valuable product. And for me too, I can look back. I have a nightmare story about a tattoo. But the first one I ever got, I was training for a marathon, Oliver. I got home, I ran like 20 miles that day. I was like, Beck, go upstairs, get me whatever. I can't even remember what it was. It's like, do not be afraid or fear not in Hebrew. Let's just go get a tattoo. And so I went, and it was a sketchy place because nowhere else was open. It was Memorial Day. And he did a terrible, like, he put it on backwards, Oliver, and he did a terrible job as well. And so my first one was a nightmare experience. Fortunately, small, cover up that whole thing.
Start small, right? That's the key.
Yeah, exactly. And on my back, you know what I mean? But tattoo care is super important. Obviously, it's something that's going to be on you forever. So it's critical to make sure that, you're taking care of it. And so were you mindfully thinking, okay, this is a product that a lot of people need, and it's a critical product that, anytime you get a tattoo, you need to make sure that you're taking care of it, and taking care of it in the right way with a great product.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, exactly. So our first product was our original balm, the circular tin that you may know from Instagram. That's the daily use moisturizer, right? That's what you need to be putting on to keep your skin from, flaking, and it helps you exfoliate. There's so many reasons why you want to take care of your tattoo every day. So that was kind of our entry point into this market. But what we've realized, and which was kind of my initial thought when I was thinking about tattoo aftercare, after you get a tattoo, the most common recommendation I hear is some sort of petroleum jelly, so Aquaphor or Vaseline, which are actually horrible for tattoos, which blows my mind that it's kind of like the norm, because it's too thick and it doesn't allow oxygen to the tattoo. So our second product was the soothing gel, which I love. It is the best way to heal a tattoo I have found to date. And so that was really exciting product expansion. And then the third thing, right? So there's lack of moisturization destroys tattoos, time, which you can't do a ton about unless you're moisturizing every day, and then sun damage. So, I think sunscreen has become increasingly popular as a whole in the last 10 years. But even still, I walk down the aisle at CVS and I look for an all natural sunscreen and I can't find a single one. So I'm like baffled by that. So we knew it was really important for us to come out with an all natural solution, which is kind of our Mad Rabbit methodology with everything. But super proud to say that like at 23, I formulated an all natural SPF 30. Like what the heck? So I don't know. The market continues to like show its needs, I guess, if you will. So
Yeah.
I think moving forward, kind of just looking to stay in tune with that and keep a pulse on what the community is looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. And with you being so young and me being 27, do you see any trends with entrepreneurship in the future that looks completely different? Obviously, entrepreneurs today look completely different than they did, you know what I mean, in like the 1930s.
Yep.
And there's obviously a new wave of entrepreneurs that will be coming, with the landscape of the internet and, obviously accessibility and all that. So, I mean, what do you personally think the future of entrepreneurship looks like?
I'm very excited for it. I think, at least it seems, the years of corporate dominance over consumer packaged goods seems to be
Yeah.
really at a day of reckoning at this point. They understand that they can't build these brands from scratch that play in these niches. It's too much of a risk for them. So they kind of are looking at it from the acquisition approach strategy, which I think is great for people like you and I who are in the hustle of it, because it gives a sensible exit point. But with that said, I think with this younger generation of entrepreneurs, I think it's really important to understand the customer, right? So that's what you're taught in marketing, is understand the customer, but it's so much more than that. Like you need to think like the customer. You need to be able to like understand how a customer will view that ad that you're displaying. You should know before you even run the ad if they're going to like it or not. You gain a sense for it. So I think this future generation is going to be so good at hammering on these niches and these different markets where the big guys historically just could not keep up.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Oliver, you got some time for some quick questions, some rapid fire?
Of course. Yeah,
Let's
hit
go.
me.
Cool. Do you have any tattoos?
I do. I have 5.
5.
My most recent one, I'm not sure if there's a video on this, but I'll show you real quick. It's basically
Nice.
a picture by Giovanni Bellini. So it was painted in the early Renaissance, and it's a woman in a boat holding a giant sphere. The painting is called Fortune, and it's kind of how I try and live my life. So in it, there's what are those little babies called? Cherubs. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's cherubs. There's cherubs, playing trumpets and leading the way. But then there's ones, swimming in the water and needing rescuing. So in my life, right, I try and live kind of the methodology of do what you can to help others, and keep the light shining on your path forward. But at the end of the day, it's on you to not make sure that that boat doesn't sink. So that's kind of like, I don't know, it's my new piece, and I'm definitely most proud of that one.
Yeah, I like that. That looks good, bro. You getting any more?
Yeah, definitely.
Are you? Nice.
I'm the type of guy who has to. Well, that's not true. I have a couple party tats as well, but I do like to plan them out, at least the visible ones.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Do you have a favorite tattoo artist you follow on IG? I feel like I follow probably 30 tattoo artists.
That's the thing, right? They're all so unique, like surprisingly unique in the way that they do this art. Their styles aside. So no, I don't have a favorite artist, but I do have a catalog of artists who I will go back to till the day I die. So it's I guess I could give a quick plug to Vincent, who did my my most recent one. His Instagram is at v. I should have had this ready. VCMTTT. So his name is Vince Carter. He's out of LA and New York, and he's dope. I spent a couple hours with him and had the best time. So.
Nice. Cool. Is there anything you see with tattoos looking different in the future? Just the industry itself?
I think there's always going to be that nostalgia for the classic American traditional, the sailor tats. And I hope those are here to stay, truly, especially for those that it has a strong connection to. For example, I have a sparrow tattoo on my thigh just because I love the Americana of it. But I don't know, man. I mean, there's a very real world very soon where robots are the ones doing at least some of these tattoos, if you can walk in and, you're looking for consistency, I mean, that might make sense. So I think the artist is here to stay for sure, but there's likely to be some cool innovations in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a favorite business book?
Ooh, Favorite business book? Yes. Actually, the one I'm reading, I finished up a couple weeks ago. It's called The Originals by Adam Grant. And it's basically about how nonconformists push the world forward.
Nice.
So, I mean, it gives awesome examples in business about women's suffrage. I mean, it really hits all the bases and makes it applicable to everyone.
Very cool. Last one. What are you most excited for 2021?
Most excited for 2021. We're going to be releasing a ton of sports marketing content. A series titled Spilling Ink is what's coming to mind at the moment. And basically the gist behind that is we want to hear who the basketball player is off the court, right? And we want them to walk us through their tattoos and their life story. And it's a lot more intimate than, an interview that you typically see with your favorite NBA player.
Awesome. Thank you, Oliver. I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Of course. Had a great time.